Sparkle Jets. This is a podcast. It's called Best of Friends. Here we go now, yeah!
Hi, everybody. This is Mike Simmons from Sparkle Jet UK. I am joined today by my bandmates, Susan and Jamie. Say hello.
Hello.
Hey.
I've also got Rex and Christina and Rex from the amazing Big Stir Records in the house, hanging out on the couch.
Hello.
Hello. We are literally in the house.
Yes, we are.
We are spending some quality time with each other and talking to some of our amazing and talented friends from all over the world about the new project we have coming out called Best of Friends, which is a best of our friends. And one of our most important and dearest friends.
This is a Sparkle Jets UK record
I found.
featuring compositions originally performed
Yes.
by the best of your friends.
That's right.
There we go.
And one of our best is on the line with us now. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Kenny Howes from Atlanta, Georgia. Yay!
Yay! Are you going to have canned applause that you can fly in?
I was going to say that if you didn't, but yes, of course. But as everyone just heard, it was a room full of like a 1,000 seats. They heard it. They've already heard it at this moment. A groundswell of applause and cheering.
Oh, well, then here, I'll react.
It was added in post. Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. There.
Thank you, Ringo. We'll phone you.
Thank you. Please sit down.
There you go.
Well, Kenny here is he's known for a lot of things. He did a lot of albums back in the day. A lot of them were called Kenny Howes and the Yeah. There's also some just plain Kenny Howes albums. And then there's been other iterations, I think, before and since. You can correct me if you've got any. There was Kenny Howes in the Fridge for a minute.
No records. That was.
I think I was part of that for a second. I'm probably the reason it was called the Fridge.
No.
Like everyone in the band was except Kenny was pretty solid. We were all solid.
Excellent musicians.
We had a ample thorax space.
Excellent musicians.
We were all shaped like refrigerators.
Superb musicians.
Yeah, I played drums with Kenny for a bit, but my hands were a joke. I'd go for a few songs and then just die.
Oh.
We played together in Hot Work. That was fun.
Yes.
And then that was also impossible and strange, drumming wise for me. And he worked with us for many, many years at our place of business, teaching the kids rock and roll at the high school.
Doing the Lord's work, as we say.
That was some really, I look back on that with wonderful fondness.
Don't forget the Pop Dudes.
And the Pop Dudes, yeah, sure. Yeah, we definitely did some of that. It's funny, I was thinking earlier about when Kenny first came over to my house and my studio. I think was the day I was working on a Pop Dudes thing. I could be wrong. I remember you had your hair all buzzed because Kenny typically has this magnificent mane of curly locks. And when we first met him, he had these giant mutton chops and he just looked like a 70s rock god, which is kind of his main look, right? But the first time you were at my house, you had your head all shaved, which you do once in a while. I don't know what your hair status is at the moment, but I'm guessing there's plenty.
It looks like Christina's.
Oh, whoa.
Does it really?
Oh, yeah.
And then, but I remember I got a picture of you in my studio and you were holding that little patch. Remember those funny patches, the little rabbit saying mean things? Remember those stickers of the rabbit that would say mean stuff? Well, I had a patch that said, like, you suck or something like that.
It said you suck big time.
Yeah, that's right. You suck big time. It's still around somewhere. I kept it forever. But it was stuck on my monitor that the entire time I had the studio there in Fullerton. And then there was the day where you came over to put some guitar parts on right before you moved away. It was very, very sad. But I just remember those 2 moments bookending that. And for a while, you lived at my house, probably for at least a year and a half. Yeah, a couple of years.
Oh, longer. A couple, almost 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah, which was a rollicking, wonderful time. And
Yeah.
you met your wife at a party we threw, our second New Year's party. And that was relatively significant for you, I would deign to say. And yeah, we did a lot of stuff. It was awesome. But earlier in the era of this, where this album is kind of concentrated, was when we first met everybody. In fact, you, Kenny, were in town, and we went and had dinner at the Old Ship in Fullerton about, 3 years ago?
Yeah.
And I just started working on tracks for this album, and I was playing them for you in the car.
Yeah, that's right.
And I was very proud. And as I was sitting there playing the songs, I'm thinking to myself, shit, I need to do a Kenny song. And my wheels started turning. And yeah, so we did. You want to hear it?
Yeah, I've never heard it.
Oh, yeah.
wow.
It's a big surprise for the Kenny here. Let me make sure this is going to work.
This is almost like an unboxing video.
Yeah, just way less boring. And by the way, I'll just preface this by saying it's always hard to pick a song from any artist, and there was a lot of ones of yours I could have picked. And just to mess with you, I really wanted to do a real barn burner, and I decided to have I talked Susan into singing it, and she killed it, as I.
Lovely.
Fantastic.
I'm pretty excited to have you hear that because, I'm excited about any of these things, but that, I don't know, that one in particular, I knew I really had to make sure it kicked ass.
Yeah, and it does. You didn't do the noisy dropout parts.
Yeah, I was thinking about, I'm like, do it. It'll. I go, no, let's just rock on. Let's just rock on.
Okay.
Because yeah. But
Yeah.
you like that guitar solo?
I do. I do. And you got the Vox organ part. That song has it's a long story. Should I tell it?
Yeah, sure.
By all means, and then we'll listen to the original as well.
So you didn't say Richie Satchel either.
A, I don't know who that is. B, I couldn't understand what I was trying. Well, first of all, I was trying not to tip you off that I was doing it at all.
You called me and asked me what the lyrics were.
I ended up having to do that. Yeah, I ended up having to do that. I had to do that with almost everyone. So, but I just thought, I'll change it to Vivian Stanshall, and you will get the joke. And when Susan sang it, I was like,
that's funny.
That's the name we replaced it with. Yeah.
Are we sending this back for other repressing? Okay,
yeah, we got to fix that now.
Best of Friends coming June 30th, 2026. 2027 on Big Star Records.
So Susan's just sing. It's Vivian Stanshall. She goes, okay. I go, Kenny will like it. Being from the Bonzo Dog Doodah.
I like it. It's fine.
And if they don't help, and saying Bonzo Dog Doodah Band did not help either. So
I think that song was written in 97. What happened is I moved to Atlanta from Tallahassee, Florida in 1996. And it's a big city and all this stuff is happening. And I was working at a record store, and this is back when record stores actually people working in record stores actually got to do cool things. They handed out passes to concerts. They handed out free CDs like candy. And I was in a big metropolitan area now, so I got to go do cool things. And then at they had a listening party at the Hard Rock for the Beatles anthology. I can't remember what volume it was, or maybe it was for the release of the video tape version of it or something like that. And I hadn't written a song in a while, and as I did then and have tended to do over the years, if I'm feeling particularly inspired, I'll write 4 songs in a day after having not written any for 6 months. And I came home from the Beatle thing and wrote like 4 songs, including that one. The point of that song had to do with, lyrically, it's nonsense, but it was about all these bands I knew in college that just like to make a great noise, and how they were on the right track, even though they had only been playing guitar for 3 months, and just the joy of experimentation and amateurism, even if it wasn't quite the result that I would like someone who had been playing for a long time or what have you, but that they were on the right track. But the words don't make any sense. Dime Store Lucy was a band in Tallahassee, with a fabulous singer that actually reminds me of Susan a lot. It is my friend Jen, who lives in London now. Richie Satchel was a guy I went to high school with. His dad was our principal at middle school. And what is the rest of the song? Oh, Motorfinger has a reference to Soundgarden. And what else? The rest of it just doesn't make any sense. I had just gotten a Vox organ, which is why it's the lead instrument on that. Is my first of like 4 Vox Supercontinental organs that I've ever had.
I was going to say it was really not easy for me to get a Vox Continental sound to make this record. I have one now, but I did not have one then.
And I wish I still had it. I used a vintage Vox AC4 amp for the guitar on that, which is part of how it has just a wonderful little scratchy sound on my version, of course, that you guys plugged into the computer. But that's what the song's about. And it was actually rejected. I rejected it from my 3rd album Mike once asked me why some of my early stuff was why I was all into that lo-fi thing, man. And it's not that I was into lo-fi; it's that that's the best equipment we had, And we listen to a lot of guided by voices, so we're like, okay, if something isn't perfect fidelity wise, we just go with it. But the right idea, my recording of the right idea is very much evidence of that. Everything we could only get it to sound good. It was to a Tascam 388, analog machine. And we're just hitting everything in the reg with a compressor. And so like you can hear a compressor on the organ when it first comes in on mine that it's
I had to recreate that. It was not
as
easy.
Compressors do.
And now that's just the Netflix intro sound.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. So at any rate, we did a first pass mix of it for my third album, Back to You Today. And it wasn't quite right. And instead of going through the hassle of remixing it, first that bad mix made it onto a comp, which was this interesting comp that somebody put out locally. That was there's a local label in Atlanta called Shut Eye that did a book that you're supposed to read the book while you're listening to a CD that came with it. And so that the bad mix is on that, but I held it back from any of my stuff. And then one of my professional goals was to get signed to a label by the time I was 30, and like a month before I turned 30, I got signed to a local label. But I didn't want to. I did have a band at the time, but I didn't want to. I wanted to kind of test the waters with the label, so I put out my fourth album, which is a greatest hits. And so, as people do, you take the new song and put it on your greatest hits. And so that was with finger quotes, a new song. And I thought the right idea is a good name for a greatest hits album. And so that became the centerpiece of it. And now it's when my band plays, it's, we've done it in every show. I even did an IPO show in Atlanta, where I just felt like playing organ for the whole night, which I normally don't do. I usually play guitar. And so we got to do the right idea, and it sounded right because it had the organ on it. And we also do in the last chorus, we kick it up into what I always call a gospel beat, kind of a punk rock gospel beat, to rave it up for the end. We probably did it like that when I played with Mike and Jamie. I don't remember. I'm sure we did that song. I know we did.
Should we hear it? The original version?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I can make that happen.
1, 2, 3, 4. Holy mackerel.
what I think is really kind of fascinating hearing that story and then understanding what I'm hearing in the lyrics more than I had. By the way, I was just in Tallahassee. That's it. Because my parents moved there during the pandemic. But what's interesting to me is this project, which is Sparkle Jets documenting, in a sense, a scene, paying tribute to all the artists on it. And in a sense, that song snuck on here, sort of documenting a previous scene.
Yeah.
Name dropping the bands, you know? I thought that was neat.
Yeah, well, I'm flattered to be involved in this because I'm not really part of the scene. I mean, I moved to Southern California in 2003, and which with the scene was kind of past its sell date.
Oh no, it's still going. We don't say that around.
Careful.
Then I was past my sell date, and you know, I had also admired Sparkle Jets because, you know, my biggest frustration one of my biggest frustrations about being out there was you could get a really hot band together to play one show, and then you could never get those people in the same room again. Where Sparkle Jets, you know, except for the exploding drummer phenomenon, you know, they've been able to be them the whole time and remain so. And I was always really frustrated about that. I could get a really hot band, for example, to play IPO and play play at Molly's or play at any of those things, and then the next time something would come around and I just want to play a regular club date.
Yeah.
Oh no, I've got a thing. You know, everybody would just be busy. You know, that version of my band that played at Spaceland where Mike played drums, that was a pretty good one, but I could never get that combination of people together again. You know, it just that was, and I don't know if that's because we were all, you know,
all those things.
Pushing 40 and busy or what. And so it makes me glad during my tenure in California that I did not go there to seek. I went out there for a job. And I did not go out to seek fame and fortune and try and make it, man.
Well, to us, you'd already kind of were that guy when you got here. We first saw you at the El Rey. I remember we just kind of met everyone, and I remember meeting you in the lobby after you played there. And I remember Lisa Michaels was there, and a bunch of us were talking. It was really cool. I think then we went up and was that the same night the Cow Sills played?
Yeah, they played right after.
Yeah, I remember going back in and hanging out with you while and watch them.
That was a crazy night because my buddies Ben Pringle and Chuck Vaughn, their band Kerosene Hero, played that night.
Right.
Cars Flowers played, who of course they became, what do you call it?
Maroon 5, yeah.
The first band to play that night, and we played, and then the Cow Sills, and I was, you know,
not bad.
I was like, this is great.
And then, you know, from being in LA and being at IPOs, that show in that venue was a very big show.
Yes.
That's about as big as they get. That's probably about as big as any of them ever got. And you were on it. So there you go. No, it was kick ass.
So inspired by you. That kick. That fucking kick. Oh, I love it so much.
Yeah.
No, you're the best.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, and here's a funny story. You'll like this. So we were trying to pick a song to do of yours, and I was trying to convince Susan which one to do. And everyone's like, just do Girls with Glass. I'm like, I want to do like number 2. And no, that wasn't going to happen. And we got doing Right Idea, and I had to write out the lyric for her. And she went to sing Glitter Curtain. Now, Kenny used to work with us at the high school with all the kids, and we'd always have a problem with all the girl singers having like California accents when they're trying to sing the Beatles or whatever. And they would always have their hard R's, you know. And I knew it was a thing that really bugged you because it was always a thing with us. And Susan goes to sing the line Glitter Curtain. And she's glitter curtain. And I'm like, no, fuck no. And I literally got into the lyric sheet thing on the computer that she was reading, and I put GLI in huge letters, GLITTA, Lita.
Lita.
And it was and I just remember looking at that and going, yep, Kenny would really appreciate that. It was very much a Homestar Runner thing too.
And I do. And yeah. And oh gosh. Yeah. You know who, Tony Valenciano is really bad about that too. He's not even from LA, and he goes, at the end of everything.
But he looks good in the dress.
I bet he does.
If you've just joined us, we're speaking with Kenny House right now here on the Sparkle Jets UK.
We're here on the Fraudcast.
And Kenny House, who does not look good in a dress. I did a show once where let's just wear outlandish whatever, and I wore a dress, and I don't do androgyny. I'm 6'2".
It just wasn't the right dress, Kenny.
Yeah, I guess
we need to try that again, bud.
Whatever turns you on, baby.
It might, and that's what I'm worried about.
I know.
Wait, so that's a yes or no?
I don't know what the question is.
from Mike, he said it was yes, and he said no. He's worried it was going to work.
I was worried that might.
He's looking for a picture of something in a dress on his phone there.
Yeah, looking for a picture of you at the Phoenix Hotel with your shirt off. Yeah,
you could like deep fake it onto someone in a dress. What's with
glitter curtain?
I thought it was lovely.
Yes. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed playing music with you a lot amongst all the other things that we did. You've got a really great catalog of songs. So I'm glad you're here for this, because I'm hoping that, I don't know what this is going to do, but if people start looking back at all this music that all of us made, that's really a good thing. Is your stuff available out there on the...
yeah. We need to know this for promotional and logistical reasons.
I think some of it is.
Most of my stuff is on Spotify. I think my last record is not, for some reason. I don't know why. And I think I haven't looked on Apple Music.
If it's on one of them, it's on all of them. That's so you're
okay.
Yeah.
You actually have two different entries, because you have one that's just plain Kenny House and one that's Kenny House and the Yeah.
Which is funny, because there's only one. I was going to, correct you on that. There's only one Kenny House and the Yeah album.
Correct.
Every other record I've done is just under my name, and I played everything on them except for the drums. Kelly Shane has been playing with me since we were in our 20s, and he still plays with me, and he's the drummer.
She Knows What I Mean, 2017 single.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
Lady Friend is on here. Right Idea is on here. And I think that's it. And then the Yeah album is also
okay.
Spotify.
Well, I wonder why Tornadoes isn't on there. Interesting.
Oh, but it's got a cool picture from my old living room on the back cover.
Oh yeah.
With your light show guitar.
So
See, Kenny loves Rickenbacker guitars, if you didn't already know that. In fact, I've never actually very rarely seen him touch anything that isn't a Rickenbacker. He's certainly not owned one that I'm aware of.
I just have the one, but that's the only one I have. That's my only guitar. I only play Rickenbacker. Singular. Yeah.
One. Yes. I bought a couple Dan Electros because they make electric guitars, and I bought a Tic Tac bass. It's on its way. Dano.
Interesting. That's cool. I have your old Rogue sitar.
I thought
you sold it to me for $100. I still have it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I used it on the latest record we made.
Seen you play that live too.
Yes, I used it on the Fuzzy Green Hat. Yeah. So how many Rickenbackers do you have, Kenny? Can you run us through your log there?
For everybody with that, I've got something like 17 of them.
Wow.
That's a couple. Like what? What do you got? Come on. I mean, we don't know where you live. No one's going to come break into your garage. He's got them all locked up off site, y'all. So don't even try anything.
What do I have? I have a one of a kind acoustic, Rick.
Yeah.
I had a one of a kind 12 string, but I sold it to Jamie Knight. and he's going to leave it for me in his will. Because I kind of want it back. I mean, I want, you know why I want it back? Because all my other, I have 3 other Rick 12 strings, and I don't want to mess them up. I don't want to take them out and drop them. I have a double neck. I have a hollow body bass, a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, we did the Big Star 45.
Oh yeah, in Ardent.
Yeah, Kenny came down, and that was the whole thing. I was like, Kenny, want to maybe drive over to Memphis and be there for that? He goes, yeah, sure. I said, well, here's the deal. Can you bring guitars for us?
And Michael's like, well, just leave that morning and come over. I said, it's a 9-hour drive. You can get me a hotel. So
it's so funny when you don't live in a region, because the opposite thing happens without here, where people are like, I'm going to be out in San Francisco. Why don't you come up and see me for, a few hours?
Yeah.
Yeah, I it's regret is the wrong word, but I guess I could say regret. I regret that I did miss the Y2K party. I was not there for that, and but I probably knew everybody that was there.
Well, it was fun though when after we'd met you at El Rey, we went on tour, kind of, and we ended up in I guess must have been Chapel Hill, yeah.
Triangle, right, for Mike Nicholson's thing.
Yeah, we were in North Carolina, and you were there playing like the same day, or at least the same festival. So we saw you there. That was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then did you play with, was that when you were doing the Robbie tour? Or was it, I know we had a poster up for it.
That was the Robbie tour was the next year.
Okay, because that must have been a thing because we did Sparkle Fest 2 years in a row.
I showed up at Sparkle Fest. I was supposed to take my band, and my whatever version of the band I had at that point broke up the day before, and so I remember, because there's an audience, there's a recording, and I just showed up to play by myself, and I went, hey everybody, my band broke up, so here I am, and then I broke a string on the second song or something. So
well, we were there, and I'm sure it still kicked ass. I probably recorded it too. That's probably where you got the tape. But
maybe
I can't always find those things now, but I know I recorded about every damn show I went to back then. Just because it was to do.
Mike might have done it. I think he might have done a board recording and had a stationary.
He had a camera, yes. He had a camera running, and then I had a mini disc right next to it, doing audio.
Yeah, it was good. Mike is great. I stayed with him for 2 or 3 days. Last solo tour I did in 2010. He's great.
We recorded within that second trip over there. Robbie and Susan and I recorded a couple songs at his little studio there.
Nice.
He had the worst freaking drum set I've ever seen. I mean, I won't pull any punches. It was a piece of shit. Yep, I've got the tracks. I just found the other day the Maltese. I pulled them up. I'm like, oof, no. There's no rescuing that. Was head.
Yeah,
I'd forgotten you were on the Big Star covers thing. So you've been on a release.
Yeah,
that's gone out on our label. So that was us putting that one out. So,
well, it's nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, that was super. That was that
it was surreal, is what it was. Yeah, I was just watching the Big Star documentary this morning. I watched about half of it while I was drinking my coffee. It was such a trip seeing that room in all those old photos, and then seeing Jody doing his interviews in that same spot and everything.
Is that Nothing Can Hurt Me? That one?
Yeah. I watched a couple weeks ago, and I did in Tallahassee actually. There's a big Star contingent down there, and they did a premiere for the movie, and Olivia Mori, who is the co-director and co-producer of the movie, was there, and she and I did a song together.
Oh wow! I didn't know that I was in Tallahassee.
When I wrote the when I watched the movie about a month ago, I rewatched it, and I hadn't talked to Olivia in years, and I took a minute to text her and said, "Hey, I don't know where you are, if this is your number anymore, but I just watched Nothing Had Hurt Me, and thanks for making it." And she actually wrote back in like 1 minute and said, "Oh, you're the best. Thanks, man." And I was like,
Wow.
"Cool." And I hadn't talked to her in like 10 years. Great.
So, little weird bit of trivia, but that it was like probably the day after you and I watched that movie that you came up with the name Big Stir.
Yeah.
Because before we were a label, we were
Live.
basically producing live shows and trying to do a show for the LA pop scene, visiting pop scene, just that, anything that would work. And we were kind of trying to brainstorm ideas, and everything you could put on pop or in front of pop or any kind of, prefix or suffix, popgasm, whatever, it had all been done, from the good stuff to the terrible
Or
stuff.
shouldn't have been.
Well, none of it should have been done, probably, but some of it, all of it had, and just having watched that movie, Christina, was just said, "What was this Big Stir?" It's obviously,
And a do, a stir. Or you can also throw a bunch of bands in, stir them around, and do the whole live scene thing again. Stir can mean a lot of things. So, and we used the Big Star logo, the neon star.
Without asking anyone, then we stopped doing that.
You did. I think you emailed Jody, right?
But I also did a terrible job designing it at the time, because I didn't know what I was doing. So eventually we changed it to the Paisleys, but that is where it started. It came out of that movie.
Yeah.
This is what the thing looks like, Kenny. I don't know.
Let me see. Oh, yeah. I saw it earlier when you held it up.
It's going to be much bigger also. It's large configuration.
That's not an LP. It's just they just made the CD really big for some reason.
Really.
Yeah. It's yeah.
And they're shipping that out, all the units, I think Monday. They were supposed to ship it Friday, but I don't think that happened.
Vinyl. Yeah. If there's only a 2-day offset, that's astonishing. Really good.
Man, I can't. I still want to talk to you some more, Kenny, and catch up on all the other things been happening, and for us or for you. So hopefully I'll get to talk to you sometimes.
It's late here, and I didn't get much sleep last night. So let me ring off with you guys. But it's great to see all your faces, and thanks for doing my song.
Pleasure. Our pleasure.
Thanks for all that you do, Kenny.
Thank you.
Your song said "Holy Mackerel" in it.
Yeah.
Holy mackerel.
Honestly, I think the first time I saw you play, and you must have done that song, because I remember just seeing you on stage singing "Holy Mackerel." Really resonated with me. I thought that was awesome. All right, man. Holy mackerel.
Holy mackerel. Y'all have a good night.
I miss you a lot.
You too,
Miss you
Kenny.
too,
Sleep well.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
You too.